So, this regular board meeting, Monday, April 14th, will be recorded and uploaded to our district website. The definitive documentation is available or documented in our meeting minutes. Any use of electronic devices such as a computer or cell phone during the meeting is related to our business of the meeting. And the core values that guide our work are compassion, honesty, responsibility, relationships, and respect. We called our meeting to order at 5:33. And we're acknowledging that today's board meeting is being held within the traditional territory of the Denizat and Treaty 8. Are there any additions to the agenda? Can I get a mover and a seconder for the agenda? Moved by David, seconded by Bill. I'll ask again, are there any additions? All right. There's a few little technical tweaks throughout, just where there was an extra word, so I'll go through those as we go through. There's just funky little things, so no major additions. Calling the question and all in favor? All right. We don't have a presentation or a delegation tonight, so we'll move on to trustee engagements and we'll move on to trustee engagements and celebrations, and we'll start with trustee Campbell, area 4.
Thank you. Other than visiting my schools and the PAC meetings, I actually went to when the school district did their band at the Music Fest, and that was very nice. And I also can tell you that the band is in Edmonton right now at a festival. And I do know, I don't know anyone else, but I do know the junior band got bronze. Because my grandson told me that. That's how I know that. And also at Bell they did the PAC did an appreciation dinner for the WI women out there. And I went to it as well. And it was really nice because a couple of the ladies from the WI taught in Bell Donald years ago. So it was really nice and they really appreciated that the PAC had done that.
Trustee Gillis.
Well, not much since last. There was spring break, which I didn't do much. I've been to my school, of course, I'm always there, field fight, and that's about it.
Thank you. Trustee Neiman, area 1.
I just went to a Quaver Park. Because we were at North Peace, and I have to say what I thought was really neat to see the energy of the staff too. Sometimes I feel we get a lot of negative feedback, and I think, oh, you guys should come to one of these. There's definitely passion.
Trustee Scott Moncrief.
At the Northeast meeting, really enjoyed it. Again soon. Chatting with Buick Creek, about a couple of issues. And other than that, not too much to spare.
Vice Chair Snow.
I went to the Virginia 7 meeting, went out to Baldonald to a rummage sale there. We're raising money for new uniforms out there with that. I went to the high school for our visit, plus a separate one before that to talk with the principal. Been to Ambrose, been to Kearney, been to the LC. But we had March break, and the week after that I was away. So I couldn't attend a meeting that we had, joint meeting with the Northwest. And Alan would like to fill me in about that. Pretty quiet month compared to normal.
Trustee Whitten.
So about the same. I was gone for 3 weeks out last month. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it back to the North Peace Secondary on our way back from Prince George. Having said that, I got the opportunity to go to the trade show, visit some of our local vendors, and meet a lot of people, shake some hands. And yeah, that was about it. Hockey season's over.
What happens? All right. So it has been quiet for me too, because I was away for a couple of weeks. But I did want to echo Madeline's comment about enjoying the committee of the whole meeting at North East very much, because it was such a lovely energy. And, I've been doing some other stuff on our behalf, NIB Northwest. And, as mentioned, thanks to Max and, Notice in the Energetic City, we did get registered for the Financial Standing Committee. We asked to do a presentation, we registered, but I don't have an answer back as to whether we'll be accepted for a presentation. But it is taking place in Fort St. John this year, so it would be kind of nice if we did. Probably didn't spend as much time on what we're going to talk about, but we put down northern factors, K-12 education, and child care as things we would talk about. So we can talk in more depth about that, but we are registered. And this is a time we get to celebrate. And in front of you, you all got the new Inspire Ed magazine. And I would like to draw your attention to the fact that starting on page 20, there's an article written by our very own superintendent on the learning support model and on learning resources. So it is there.
Yeah, appreciate that.
It is there.
You're published.
You're published.
They were destined.
That
I know, but it's true.
You just sign it later.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to item number 5 on our agenda, the minutes of the regular board meeting of March the 10th, which is pages 6 to 14 in your package. I'm going to give you a chance to look at that. All right. Can I please get a move from a seconder for those minutes? If I'm listening, you let me know. I'll move it. Seconded by Ida. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question in, all in favor? Carried. Business arising from the minutes. The information from the partner liaison meeting was brought back to committee of the whole. Stephen wasn't with us. Did you have anything that you wanted to add from partner liaison? Michael? Okay. You guys had your whole day together. You weren't together. You weren't together, but you had separate,
Oh, sorry.
right? Any other business arising? I've not seen them. Yeah, and the draft letter from Minister Bear is part of our, in. Moving on to item number 6 on our agenda then, approval of the excerpts of the regular board meeting of February the 18th, which is page 15. Short and sweet. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Nicole. Any errors or omissions? On the question then, all in favor? All right. Moving on to announcements and reminders, and we've hit that time of the year where all of a sudden, whoa, there's lots going on. So let's look at that together. Stephen did send you a reminder of the meeting with Indigenous Education on the 17th. Pardon?
Yeah, I got a little
Is it
reminder.
today?
Yeah, I said but it'll also be in your calendar too, but
Yeah,
just
it's in your
wanted.
calendar, but he sent it.
I did see that it's down at Grand Haven.
And Grand Haven, correct. That's where the ice is.
I can make it look loud.
That's all.
Yeah.
Did I miss it? The public budget presentation?
It hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened?
It's not on the. Oh, or do I not, or am I just not seeing
I
it?
thought it was.
Yeah. How do you expect people to live if you don't see it?
Throw her under the bus. Oh, nice.
It's my favorite presentation.
Oh, yeah.
The regular.
I do appreciate
You try to avoid it.
my fan base.
I'm scalping tickets for it.
Bill, I appreciate it. Brag about the snacks. Sorry, Leah. We both missed that. We both missed that.
When is it?
It is in our calendar.
On
Should I
May,
just show up when, Leah?
on May 5th, we got a meeting at the Key.
Yeah, that's where.
No, but the public budget is on the,
No, but it says
it's on the
2:30. But then across from it says NPSS.
Hearing center.
And above that, the badminton, I'm guessing it's
No, it's not.
things that's organizing,
Ancient organizing, yeah.
where
Two schools, I believe, Marbury and the high school. Yeah. Marbury and the high school. And it will, in fact, I'll be able to confirm that. Oh, I know, I don't want to go through my email while,
100%.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to go back to the IEC meeting because in your reminder, we've got a time in there of 12 to 2.
Yep.
And on this, we've got from 9:30 to 3, so that's clarified.
Yeah, so it's definitely 12 to 2 because they've got some other things going on and the intent was to break bread as well as to get into some of the questions from trustees and that kind of stuff. So it is only 12 to 2.
That's better news for me.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if it's necessary to put it on here as a specific reminder, but there is the debates coming up on the 15th as well, Lido Theater for the federal election.
Just tomorrow.
Just good reminder for people who don't like that thing.
Well, and one of the questions is we have put the April 28th down as federal election. Do we have any schools that would be involved in using phone? Because, no, it's not going to be a mistake.
Can you help with? At our rural schools are.
1-1?
Eldonal and 101?
Yeah.
Are the only two being used? Just need it.
Yeah.
Any other changes, additions to that list of things? Right. Moving on then to senior staff reports. And we start with Stephen.
Thank you, Helen. Item number one is the activity report for HR, and then, of course, there's a superintendent online report. Under the board strategic plan of student learning, intellectual development, just a little bit of an update. We're in the process of surveying our staff around some updates to what they're calling these learning progressions for numeracy and literacy, and they've really come a long way since the last time I saw them. I'll just give you a quick example. For K-4 here, around oral language, you can't read all of it, but we're seeing a level of specificity in here that we've not seen before. And I think was a missing piece around some of the new curriculum parts. So we feel that's going to be quite helpful, but it's in the process of consultation. But I have put it here for trustees and the public to check out in terms of what is the format, what does it look like? And it's all with the intent of supporting classroom instruction and supporting the regular curriculum with a bit more information. So that's going along well. This month in the SUP report, I'm kind of profiling a specific initiative called Classroom Champions, which you've likely heard about before. But it's really an initiative that supports both the intellectual as well as the human and social development aspects of students. And we've been partnered with them for a number of years. And it occurred to me that there were some really specific connections to the board strategic plan commitments on student learning around promoting varied and innovative learning experiences, prioritizing student mental health and well-being, as well as fostering a sense of community. And those three commitments really come to light with this partnership with Classroom Champions. SD60, outside of, in British Columbia, we are their biggest partner as a district. We have more schools and are more centralized in terms of our communication and collaboration with them. And so as well, a number of schools. However, this spring, there were 2 in-person visits by 2 separate Canadian Olympic athletes. The first one was Baldonnel with Melissa Lotholz, who is an Olympic bobsled athlete for Canada, sponsored by Pembina. And I was there and she gave a great talk, but also what was incredible was that the teacher and her class that were most directly connected to the athlete, they built these cardboard bobsleds on top of these wheel devices, and they had a bobsled race in the gym. So I'm going to show you a quick snapshot of that here. So I thought, gee, this is going to be interesting. When they said go.
And start at the same time. So with a back, I'm gonna say back, right? Everybody, and then they step, and I'm gonna say up. They're gonna go. You guys, let's do it practice. Back. Okay, you guys ready for real? Okay, you guys ready to super loud? Okay.
Oh, we lost the team. So there's just a quick snapshot there. So that was lots of fun. And similarly at Duncan Cran later on in the afternoon, it was Brooklyn McDougall who spent the day with all the classes. So they have several other classes involved in this program, which is very specific in their lessons around social and emotional learning, about resilience, about building community, setting goals, and leadership. And so she gave a great talk at Duncan Cran and was very well received there too. And I just want to point out they're sponsored by Petronas. And so our local industry continues to support a number of initiatives for our district. Onto career and skill development. For student learning, we had once again, we hosted a camp, welding camp for women in trades at Duncan Cran Elementary School, and that was a big success. And to the point where they've just kept coming back to our district to offer camps each year. And they don't do that in every district in different locations. They have a good contact both with Brian Campbell as well as with Griff and a number of the principals. So it's happy to see that. And that was sponsored by the Construction, the exact name, Construction Foundation of BC. There is a link there if you want to read more about them, and we are grateful for their partnership. Under people development, just some workshops here. Wanted to point out that this particular one here on speech and language was for both EAs, support staff, and classroom teachers. So that was done in collaboration with all the partner groups, and so that was good to see. And our own math itinerant teacher, Jared Hamilton, is promoting a cohort. We're hoping to get a number of teachers to do a master's together around Master's in Education and Mathematics. So it's kind of nice when you have a group doing some research together and
What institution? Doesn't say.
it doesn't say. I'll get back to you on that for sure. And under Truth and Reconciliation, just to save the date, as trustees and public know, this is a massive undertaking in the school district. And so it's going to be not out in community this time. It's going to be here in town at the Pomeroy. And our guest speakers here, as you can see, are Joe Crona. And so we're looking at Madeline McCallum, gifted dancer. But the main speaker for the day is Joe Crona. And we're going to have several hundred staff or administration, several groups in attendance that day. We're looking forward to that. And finally, under Take 3, just some pictures and a write-up around the African Dance Workshop, which is La Conexial, which was at Burgos. And we had Buick Creek with Science World on the Road, who actually visits several rural schools. And so they were, Presbyterian, I guess, Upper Pine, right? And Buick, Upper Halfway in 101. And so it's great that they still have these initiatives that target rural schools for these programs. So we are grateful for that. And Alan Holland, who did some service here for Random Acts of Kindness, and as part of that, extending thank you cards and for the dedication of our frontline workers in the Port St. John area. So that was a worthwhile activity for them with Mrs. Lagasse and Mrs. Ross's class. That was my online report. And item number 2 under education is the some of the out of district field trips for approval. That's my report.
All right. Please, a mover and seconder for Stephen's report, moved by David, seconded by Thomas. Question, all in favor? We'll go through that report and pull out the other district field trips. We'll start with the human resources summary for teachers on page 16 of your package. Are there any questions related to that? Anything?
Be on par now compared to normal.
Yes.
Year?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We're at about 65% of our temporary teachers re-upping or reapplying to their position for next year, which is very consistent with the numbers and percentages we've seen in the past. So that's a fairly good percentage that will continue. At this time of the year, it's not our best year in terms of the number of positions. We still have about 15 full-time teaching positions out there. So, and looking for more teachers in our rurals than we normally were this time last year. So some challenges, but not inconsistent with what we've seen over the past few years.
Moving on into the electronic report.
The first there on the learning progression?
Yeah.
Do you feel that the link, it is specific more for teachers, is that correct?
It is. It's definitely more for teachers. Like if you look here, they actually start to use like a specific, 44 letter sounds, and then they get into the detail around that. We were missing some of that specificity in the past because it was a lot of, the teacher can design the program and that's great. But we have lots of new teachers, so lots of letters of permission. And so I think this will be a helpful resource for some of that specificity.
I gotta say that I appreciate this because
Yeah.
that was exactly what we were.
Yeah.
Chatted about a month ago.
And, similar numeracy, for example, just a bit more of that scope and sequence
Yep.
around the progression of the skill building. And so this is what, initially it seemed to be quite vague, but it's really come a long way.
I do appreciate the classroom champions. I think it is a valuable, I was able to be part of one last year when they were at Ambrose. And to see the kids, and I think they can relate, and the people that do come and visit, they're really good in how they present, and
Good models.
it is just a good, and it's not just about the success, it's about the failure too. I just feel they can really, it's a good program.
Well, thing I like about it is they're coming in and they're using all the language that we're already using about respect and responsibility. And just having somebody else, oh, this is important in the real world too. They're talking about it is great stuff.
And I could really sense that connection between the athlete and the students, like it was really authentic. They really loved their Olympic athlete. And remember, this means they're communicating with them throughout the year. There's Zoom calls, there's letters, and so it really is a nice connection.
All the bobsleds.
Oh my gosh, that was, I should have mentioned, really kudos to Mrs. McEachran, teacher out at Valdon, of course, who made that happen.
Right. Moving on then to the out of district field trips. There's a number of them in your package. You got an opportunity to take a quick look to review. Stephen did have to approve some because we were between meetings.
Do we know if they're playing in the Grand Prairie League there? Are they gonna be playing there at all?
Good question. Like, will Grand Prairie teams come here, do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Good question. Yeah, good to know.
I'm a big rugby fan. so
Yeah.
I'll go watch.
We will warn you that during our North Peace presentation, the teacher when we were in the shop said he'd bring the go-karts back for us to rip. them
Yes.
out in the meeting.
I wanna try that.
I was gonna point that out.
Agenda setting, yeah.
Great.
He was quite excited.
Try out that new suspension system.
Yeah, so it's kind of 2.0.
Yeah.
Our participation in go-kart competitions.
I'm willing to race you again.
Pardon me?
I'm willing to race you again.
Yeah.
Put a little money on it?
Keep practicing.
That's cool. I'm glad to see they're doing it again.
Yeah,
this year.
me too.
So could I please have someone make?
I'll move for the out of district.
Thank you. We approve them. Seconder, moved by Nicole, seconded by Bill. Any question? All in favor? Any further comments or questions related to those? Right, moving on to our Secretary Treasurer's report.
For my report, I have the finance update to March 31st, 2025, which now has the amended budget numbers in it, so staffing looks a bit more aligned. The board office summer closure memo that just goes out about this time every year. The ministry announcement of our childcare space. I've used Max's article for childcare. And then, just the District of Taylor Joint Use Agreement, just bringing it to the board table for any feedback or comments, there. And then I'll reach out to the school and see if they have any, additional information they would like to add. And then just the HR support staff summary report for the period March 8th to April.
Right, please get a mover and a seconder. Bill and David. Alright, we'll go through the report item by item, starting with the financial update.
It's not on here and I'm not expecting your crystal ball answers at all.
But do your best.
No, what I'm gonna say is I feel, cause it's the amended budget. I'm just gonna say appreciate, cause it must be so difficult when you see the news and the ups and the downs, and then the carbon tax is off for the moment.
For the moment.
For the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna come in somewhere else, so just realizing that that is not an easy thing to set up.
Thank you, Madam.
Yeah,
Thank you. So you could rework it and rework it.
yeah,
And then walk away and rework it.
and next
then-
week it'll look different.
Yeah.
So.
I feel good about it. That's the word, we're good. Thank you, though.
Can you speak a little bit more to the lower than expected payout to vacation during spring break or leaves? I was curious about how that arose.
So in the CA, support staff can choose to either take their vacation or take leave without pay during school closures. So some want to take it and some want to save it till the end of the year, or maybe they have vacation plans that have been approved later on. So the payouts have not, and we can't predict that when we're doing the budget. So at this point, it's lower, but it will catch. I feel confident it will catch us by the end of the year.
Well, I was curious about whether that meant that more of the EAs worked their spring break hours or put their spring break hours in. I was just curious.
No, they have options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions related to the financial update? The next item was the board office summer closure. Any questions about that? Okay, moving on to the ministry announcement regarding childcare spaces at Robert Ogilvie. Can you speak to this a little bit more?
Yeah,
please?
so we received, well, we're building an additional childcare facility adding on to what's already there. We'll be putting 24 spaces for 0 to 5 years of age. And we'll be getting $1.4 million to do this, which will be the construction, which has to be prefab similar to Dr. Kearney. And that would include a playground as well.
So we already have the Y operating infant toddler. Who is going to operate this infant toddler? Because we right now, if I have it right, are not operating any daycares that need to go over the summer period. Whereas when you're starting to offer infant toddler, that will.
The Y.
The Y is
The Y
the
operates,
district.
but we do not.
We do not. So for the infant toddler play spaces, are we going to choose to?
There'll be a third party for this construction as well.
So the third party that's running it, as for letting it out, and obviously there's a lot of planning, whatever, is that all gonna be on your desk?
Yes. I've become very good at building things, so don't worry, we'll get it right. I don't do it alone. I do have a project manager down south who is a previous director of facilities for Richmond, and he walks me through this.
And just out of curiosity, I mean, I know the need is fully there, I get that. Does the ministry pick and choose? Like, do you one day get, or was there request from?
We requested.
Yeah.
We requested for 2 and we received this one, yeah.
But our request was for that hub
Was
at
for
all
the
in
hub.
Howland.
Mhm.
And I can see why we didn't get that, because when you look at the fact that we're one of 3 districts that have had a lot of money, as they start to look at rolling more stuff out through the provinces, they're going to look at us and put in a big hub on Allen Holland specific to childcare, sets a standard that every other district can ask for.
But that was part of their, kind of part of our mandate was to, they really, wanted this hub to move forward. And the bit of a complication here was that we were funding through 2 different avenues. And, as we learn is that the 2 different divisions don't speak with each other. So, they approved ideally, they would have approved the one that would have helped us
I know.
spend our integration inquiry money, but they approved the other one, and now we are left to figure out how to move forward.
What is the timeline for having this operational?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I have about a year from now. Let me pull up the schedule. I might have bought myself a little more time because when I received it, I said December 2025. So with an open date of February, but all construction should be done by December of 2025, except for potentially the playground, which would have to come into play in the spring. So.
But there is already playground stuff there. That's not a huge deal.
But the playground that is currently there is serving K to grade 5. So they would like a smaller scale playground.
No, but we're not.
But construction should be done December. No pressure, but thank you, yes. 8 months, and then licensing a month, and then open by March 1st of 2026.
So the third party operator, we don't know who that is yet. You just put that out and see who bids it. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the process because the Y is currently in the space attached to it, so I'm going to get some clarity around how that moves forward.
Well, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Do we know the Y is willing to take it over? Because otherwise we've got 2 different people.
I feel
sharing the space.
I feel confident that they will. But again, we just have to follow the processes.
Will it be like a modular or just a stick built?
Prefab. They're not accepting, they wouldn't accept anything other than prefabs for this, new spaces funding this. Yeah.
District of Taylor, any further questions on that before we move on to the District of Taylor joint use agreement?
Yeah, and then I wanted to ask a question about this joint with Taylor. Is this the new one that you're proposing?
No, this is the.
This is old.
existing.
Because this one was 2020, there's a newer one that expires in 2025.
Oh, I thought,
This is a copy of the new one.
yeah,
This is a copy of the newer one?
just if there was, any feedback or anything that you saw within the document, I'll touch base with the school, or if anyone is opposed to continuing, but I think it's a good partnership we have in place with them.
How often does it get utilized on both sides?
Sure. Please speak to that better than me, or I can get the numbers for you.
It's, Taylor has an awful lot of, places that their community uses themselves. The school uses the, community more so than the community using the school, for sure. And the only reason that I even in here is, under the rents, the parties will be permitted without a rental fee, use of the facilities for all activities of students and residents in Taylor. We don't have to put something about nonprofit. Like that was, and I just heard that that's the biggest concern I've heard is before COVID, a lot of people used the Taylor School for birthday parties. Now they don't. But there is venues in Taylor that you can host birthday parties at. But it's a cost
For a fee, yeah.
or a fee. So I think,
So your suggestion is rather than just a citizen, you would like to see something about the school being used by nonprofits?
or resident, like if they wanted to have, yeah, because it'd be a nonprofit if it was a volleyball, but then a birthday party is a nonprofit too.
But it's private.
Yeah.
It's hard, but
And everything kind of, so during COVID, we did stop that practice for, and AOs were quite happy with it, as was our custodial staff when they would come in and the places were not, or the custodians weren't upset on a Monday morning, but some of the staff were, because the school had been used during the weekend and we didn't have custodial or anything in there to clean it up. So that was kind of the premise behind changing.
we haven't talked about it with this, but I will share I always have a problem with where there's a community that rents places out for birthday parties. I don't think our schools should be used for birthday parties. But now when you have a rural area that there's nothing, that they have to be looked at differently. I always have had that concern.
Because our 101s, upper halfways, Presbyterians kind of stuff.
Yeah, because they don't have.
Yeah,
A lot of, some have though, some have community halls.
Yeah, but we took 101's community hall and attached to the school.
I know.
I understand where you're coming from.
And like, I don't know if I didn't read it right through because I wasn't. So long as because I think the principal has to okay what goes. So that's.
Just to add that I think within the spirit of this agreement, the way it's currently written allows for that. Because it says for all activities of students and residents in
Yeah.
Taylor. So your point is that kind of changes over the years as far as what's allowed. But I think it's open use is helpful in terms of not coming up with a list of, who can or can't use it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because it is a special relationship and our kids benefit from free skating.
Yeah.
Use of the
Oh, yeah.
facilities.
Free
Breakfast.
swimming.
It definitely goes,
Oh,
the
the other
school
way.
uses
Yeah.
the, way
Yeah.
more. Like we benefit from having this partnership.
And I think the school and the principal have a good relationship with the
Yeah.
community to sort of figure out what are the needs of the local residents when it comes to the space of the school within the current language.
I'll touch base with.
Yeah.
And see what she's getting.
Yeah.
I like this agreement, but has there been any consideration given to a cleaning fee for birthdays and things like that? Because as a parent of 3 boys, if I had 20 kids in there and I didn't leave it clean, I'm okay paying $50 for somebody to come in and clean it.
The big topic, Thomas. Thank you for bringing it up. For sure. That's on our review to look at list for sure.
I don't think it's gonna be a moneymaker, but just,
We don't need a moneymaker.
How about a cleaning deposit?
yeah, exactly, $50 deposit.
If you clean it, then you get it back. If you don't.
Yeah. Having cleaned up many times that's just an expectation.
I'll just though, however, point out a bit of the unique nature of this agreement with Taylor. Because we're benefiting so much from the use of those facilities, we're not paying any kind of cleaning deposit. We're not paying any kind of fees. birthday parties kind of enter into a bit of a category on their own. Because it in some cases became a bit of a free for all and a kind of personal use of a space, which I don't think is in the spirit of this agreement anyway. But I'm just saying that we just have to be a little bit careful with Taylor because we don't pay anything to use the community facility.
Just to clarify my position, I think this is great. If we can continue on this, yeah, but in that.
But we are looking in the rest of the district is how do we protect the integrity of our equipment and our space in a way that's doable.
I think the policy laid it out.
And we're looking at all the options.
When is the last time we looked at that full rental policy?
Don't know. Just off the top of my head, I don't know. I guess. And David has brought forward the concept of Buick Creek. There will be an act related to Buick Creek coming forward. You just don't have enough information at this point in time to bring it to the board's table.
Not yet.
Just so you know, we did talk about it and we said we would mention it at this point in time. And it will come forward for more consideration when we have much greater information.
So Will I was looking for any feedback on the joint use agreement. I will, look at it, make sure it has all the privacy and indemnity clauses that always seem to change every year, and then we'll bring it.
And if anybody has further thoughts after the meeting, please feel free. Angela will be doing some work on it to send it to Angela.
And I just wanted to clarify, there's 3 election sites, Upper Halfway, Belnaught, and one.
All right. Your HR, any questions related to the HR summary report?
What's your search going for,
I think that's
That's in camera. You will respond to that. All right. We will leave the senior staff reports then and move on to item number 9 on our agenda, which is the reports of the committee of the whole meeting of April 7th, which is pages 18 and 19 in your package. All right, could I please get a mover and seconder? Moved by Madeline, seconded by Bill. Any errors or omissions? On the question then, all in favor? Okay. Any business arising for people? I think we had all appreciated the energy of the Northeast staff and much of that. Other questions, comments, business from staff?
I have a quick question, because unfortunately I wasn't here, but we talked about Dr. Kearney Middle School. Did we get like a tentative timeline of kind of when they're gonna start hitting the ground?
They're gonna start prep in May, June. Completion date is the latest, end of October. Pretty soon, I'm just gonna ask. My ST role, but go. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on now to policy.
We do not have public or feedback from these to share.
All right, so we have some policies to take a look at. So we're going to look, first of all, our policy 4005 on equipment repair. Could I please, we had Thomas made the motion to adopt the revised policy 4005. No public feedback, so I'm looking for a seconder for that motion, seconded now by David. All in favor? Any further discussion related to it? So, all right, moving on to universal precautions. Bill made the initial motion that the Board of Education adopt the revised policy 5012, universal precautions. Could I please get a seconder? Seconded by Ida. All in question, all in favor? Thank you. Moving on now to other reports under BCSTA. We put in the AGM list of motions, and you can see that our motion, I forget what number it is, but our motion related to acting on the workforce plan is in there. And you also can see that it didn't end up being 100 motions as they had suggested. I think it's, there's around 40, if memory serves me correctly, going forward. So 41, which is similar in line to numbers that we have seen come forward previously. Just a reminder that for those motions, it's the extraordinary motions and the election of the board of directors that are the weighted vote by ballot. And so I have to attend training, voter training on the 17th, because those votes will go through the board chair. If you look at the second page in on that, on there, it's got all the list of the motions and what's coming forward. And we have NIB has got some in there, as well as ours is number 28, implementation of the MEC K-12 workforce planning. NIB uses number 29, LOP process with the TRB. So work on those. And again, on the extraordinary motions related to the changes to the bylaws, we will be asked to not have feedback from the floor on them, because they've all been vetted through lawyers and everything else. So one of the first things that will happen is a motion going forward about the bylaw changes, and a unique format that will be followed at this particular meeting. Sometimes we've sat and gone through all of the motions. I don't know that we have the time to do that tonight, but we can always do, if you've got some of these that you've got some really strong opinions on, you can send an email out to our group on, and that's how we can gather information and we can have a conversation about them at that point in time. The other piece that was attached under BCSTA is this improving student outcomes document for students with disabilities and diversity. The first time the document was spoken to was Academy. There's an incredible amount of information in here, and some real information on looking at policy through the lens of accessibility and meeting the needs of all students. A lot of this has come up. It also has a lot of information on some of the key questions legally that need to be considered. So Leah will add it to on our SharePoint BCSTA documents, and it's probably one we'll bring back to a committee of the whole meeting and ask if anybody's got any questions or further conversation that we need to have related to that document. Right, moving on, BCPC, trustee Lehman.
I think the attachment is quite self-explanatory. If you want to see dates, they are on page, I believe. But they have the different dates that have been decided on page 5. And as to who is what in the different bargaining. So my only question I have actually on that one is, my guess is our support staff is obviously submitted because I think they've received them all.
The plan
And will
and the date.
be determined.
To be determined. My guess would be June, like ideally beginning of June, but that's just my thought.
One of the things that I thought was nice about this document that they gave us was they encouraged us to share it widely so the public knows what the process is and some of the key dates and what's going on. And you look at the number of associations and the support staff, like the bargaining that have to be dealt with because it's a very different landscape of the number of different organizations involved. They'll be doing. May it be going well.
They do have a portal, BCPC, so if you're really curious and you want to know, you can always sign in.
Okay, just a reminder, nobody has indicated they have, would like to go to Winnipeg for the CSBA conference, but just a reminder that that information is available and the opportunity is there for at least one of us to go if there isn't. That's sort of later. All right, there is no correspondence. The correspondence that relates to the capital bylaw was included in the information that was part of the Secretary Treasurer's report. And we didn't speak to it during the Secretary Treasurer's report. So we could now. One of my curiosities, when you look at this letter that will be referenced in the capital bylaw plan, is they now have introduced legislation that identifies country of origin requirements for procurement. And I really wonder with projects coming up, what level of work this will add around projects. So it probably is too early in the process to ask you that question, but I think it's a fair question to tell you we're going to come back and ask for it, because I'm not disagreeing with the importance of this, but there needs to be some support plans of adding hours to the work of projects that in the north especially are already on a tight timeline because of our window for building. So yes, the capital bylaw.
Can I ask a question on that too?
Yeah.
This is just for my ignorance, because I'm not quite 100% sure on the distance side, but acquisition charge.
Yeah.
I know that's nothing new. So there's no really amount stated. Does the regional district collect that?
Yes.
And then does the district get it? Or is that just?
Well, we get the funding from the district. So they get it and then they send us a check for what they've collected.
You know how much it is?
It varies. fine, yeah, we have I'm not sure if it's a policy or a memo, well, I can send you
But it's not,
the school
like it's
site
a set amount,
administration.
it's not like it's a set amount
No.
for that, so you're saying it varies.
It varies depending on the new development that's occurring.
Right, size, whatever.
All the land site.
Yeah, every time they develop,
Yeah.
part of the development fees include a site acquisition.
Acquisition, yeah. No, I'm aware of that. I was just curious if there's a set or,
Hmm.
okay. But there is no amount. Or any, yeah.
Where is it? Wait,
There's information on the site acquisition charge on page 3.
oh, sorry, thank you.
Yeah, on page 3 of 4, and it's just giving information as to how we're able to access those funds.
Those two pieces sort of go together, so I didn't get you to speak to it during your report because the two pieces need to be looked at side by side. So if we look now, we're moving on to item number 12 on our agenda, and we need to take the word amended out because we will be passing a capital plan bylaw, not an amended capital plan bylaw. So what I'm asking, first of all, is that in accordance with section 68(4) of the School Act, all three readings of the capital bylaw number 2526 CPSD 60-01 be given at this meeting. So I need a mover and a seconder for all three readings. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Nicole. Calling the question, all in favor? Thank you. All right, we will move on to the first reading. Again, this is exactly what the minister put in this letter that now goes into capital bylaw. We don't get to do anything other than what it has been directed in the letter. So we're looking at, for the first reading, capital bylaw number 2526, CPSD 60-01, referred to as the capital plan for 2025-2026. Whereas in accordance with section 142 of the School Act, the Board of Education of School District number 60, Peace River North, here and after called the board, has submitted a capital plan to the Minister of Education, here and after called the minister, and the minister has approved the capital plan or has approved a capital plan with modifications. Now, therefore, in accordance with section 143 of the School Act, the board has prepared this capital bylaw and agrees to do the following. Authorize the Secretary Treasurer to execute a capital project funding agreement related to the capital projects contemplated by the capital plan or the capital plan with modifications. Upon ministerial approval to proceed, commence capital projects and proceed diligently and use its best efforts to complete each capital project substantially as directed by the minister, observe and comply with any order, regulation, or policy of the minister as may be applicable to the board or the capital projects, and maintain proper books of account and other information and documents with respect to the affairs of the capital projects as may be prescribed by the minister. Now, therefore, the board enacts as follows the capital bylaw of the board for 2025-2026. Capital plan was approved by the minister to include the supported capital projects specified in the letter addressed to the Secretary Treasurer and Superintendent dated March 25th is hereby adopted. This capital bylaw may be cited as School District number 60, Peace River North capital bylaw number 2025-2026, CPSD 60-01. Could I please have someone make the motion that the board adopt the first reading of the capital bylaw number 2526, CPSD 60-01? Moved by Bill, seconded by David. Calling the question, all in favor? All right, I need a motion that you don't have to listen to me quite so much, that the second and third reading be read in short form. Moved by Ida, seconded by Thomas. Calling on the question, all in favor? short form reading, for the second time. We're talking about the capital bylaw number 2025-2026. And we are going to do this in accordance with section 142 of the School Act, the Board of Education and the ministry. And we are going to authorize our secretary treasurer to execute the capital funding project agreements to complete the projects that have been approved by the ministry, comply with all the orders and regulations, and maintain proper documentation and books. So the board is enacting capital bylaw for 2025-2026, that is CPSD 60-01. Could I please have someone make the motion that we adopt the second reading? Moved by David, seconded by Madeline, calling the question. All in favor? All right. When we look at 12.5, there was a bit of an error in the agenda. You need to, that should be 25-26 and CPSD 60-01. All right, moving on with the fast form third reading, capital bylaw number 25-26, CPSD 60-01. It's an agreement between the Board of Education and the minister based on section 142 of the School Act. And we're following through with what section 143 of the School Act says that we have to do. And the secretary treasurer will follow up and execute the capital project, do everything the way the ministry would like us to do it, follow all the regulations and procedures, proper accounting, and going forward, this capital bylaw may be cited as school district number 60, Peace River North, capital bylaw number 25-26, CPSD 60-01. Could I please have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Ida, seconded by Bill, for the third reading that the board just adopted, the third and final reading, calling the question. All in favor? Carried. All right. We don't have any other unfinished business to do in our regular meeting. And I already talked about, I jumped ahead on the new business, the finance staff committee, and we'll come back to that. All we've done at this point is sign up and ask to do a presentation. We will gather information from everybody over the next few weeks to be ready for that. We don't have anybody from PRNTA-TP or the District Parent Advisory. So we can through now and see if any questions from the press and public related to our agenda items.
Thank you. Going back to this report right
Yeah.
here, I'm sure.
Yep.
Some follow-up questions
Yarrow,
for
yeah.
later on, but yeah, what I'm understanding is that there's just some new facilities being built here, right?
Yeah, they've given us some additional seats for infant toddler spaces. We have infant toddler spaces at Montgomery and Roberts and some at Robert Ogilvie that are currently operated by the YMCA. And they've added 24 more spaces. And so we have to have the facility to add.
All right. You said construction was going to be done by December of this year.
That's the goal.
No
That's the
pressure.
goal.
Go easy on me, Matt.
Yeah, put it in mind.
She's doing it herself.
Yeah, you totally did that.
The word aspirational might help.
Aspirational, yeah.
Critical.
Well, I mean,
Challenge, actually.
it does-
That will be done.
it does to a degree have to be aspirational because as we've already discussed, we've got some new procurement policy that we've never sort of tried on a project before. And you never know if that will slow things down or what the availability is when you suddenly have cut out a lot of suppliers.
Right. And for the joint use agreement with Taylor, how long has this agreement been in place for?
I think
Question.
20 years.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Least.
And what benefit does it do for School District 60 and Taylor?
Yeah, I can, or actually Ida can.
I can.
The partnership, it allows the District of Taylor to use the school and the gymnasium for different recreational things that they need to do or classes. But the biggest benefit is having the partnership. The District of Taylor allows us to use all of their facilities free of cost for the school. And we have a really good partnership with the District of Taylor and the School District 60. And we have free swimming, we have free skating, they use the golf course, and it just promotes community as well, because it's a strong partnership that the school is part of the district and the district is part of our school.
Amazing, thank you. That's all I have.
Yes.
Mine was, as a school district, I know there's been a lot of things about Site C where they're trying to get rid of all the trailers and all the instruments and equipment that they have down there. Was the school board ever approached, or did the school board ever approach them down there to see if any of these facilities that they have there would be able to work as portable school?
I don't know that we've done that reach out.
Yeah, they've reached out to us.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Any other questions? All right. So what I'll look for now is a mover and seconder that to suspend the regular meeting and move into in camera. David and Bill. All in favor? We're going to move into camera. Leah, please stop the recording. Could I please have a motion that our in-camera motions be brought forward for implementation? Moved by Bill, seconded by David. All in favor? Thank you. Now we need a motion to adjourn. Bill? Thomas? All in favor? Leah?